lighting, right?
Yeah, the
All
white
right.
balance. That's good.
Anyways, yo, what up? It's Karl, aka Karl Drum Tech. I'm here right now at LACMA, and I gotta know, I've never been here before. It's pretty dope. But as you can see behind me, I'm here with my homie Huei, who I met through Instagram, and he is one of the dopest, coolest dudes ever. We just finished up like a Periscope.
True.
Yeah, of course. We just finished up a Periscope video, which is my first time doing it. It was so awesome. It was so cool. So go. I'll post a link for the Periscope video that's going to be on his page. So check that out. Also a bunch of links on, also on the description for his handle, Instagram, Twitter. So go follow him. Go like his stuff. He is dope. All right, you're gonna get some tremendous value out of checking out his stuff. But today. What I wanted to do, so this is kind of different. I brought him in to try to kind of change things up. And what I don't know if you guys saw, but a couple weeks ago, his blog post, "The Worst Snare Drummer I've Ever Seen," kind of blew up, got a lot of attention. I noticed it on my Facebook, my personal Facebook, how my former students just kind of blew it up, and they were really sharing the heck out of it. And right away, you got a lot of attention out of that, and you got a lot of views and hits on your page, right?
Yeah, it's always funny because you're sitting in a room writing this content that you think maybe this will be helpful for people, and you never really know until you hit publish and then see the reaction from it. And this is maybe only the second or third post that I've written on this topic, and I remember I posted it, I went to sleep that night, and the next morning I woke up and it was 1,000 views,
right,
and 400 shares. I was like, what is happening? And then I went to work and I checked back in.
Whoa, what did I do? What did I do to the video? Hold on. Okay, all right, wait. Oh, I did a super focus? Is that what I did?
Is this turning into the Blair Witch Project?
I guess so. Okay, sorry about that. All right,
okay.
Go on.
And then I went to work, and then later in the afternoon I checked in again, and it was 3,000 views and 800 shares. And I was like, what's happening? And all in all, over I think 3 or 4 days, it ended up being shared 3,000 times and 20,000 views.
Right.
So what was cool to see was that apparently the story resonated with people, and it had a positive effect, which is what I was going for.
Yeah, and I've said this to you over and over again, but it's definitely one of the best written, I guess you could call it an article, but it's really a blog, right? So it's the best written blog I've ever seen for percussion. It was so well written.
Wow,
this is coming from an English major. I mean, it was so enjoyable to read, and I can at the same time, so many people relate, right? On many different levels. You can relate as a student, being in that position. You can relate as a teacher, which I definitely related with, and so yeah, I brought Huei here because I wanted to talk about that blog post because it was so awesome. It was so well written. I just kind of want to pick your brain about it and just kind of expand upon the blog itself. But let's take a moment right now and give you an opportunity to kind of introduce yourself. If you guys don't know Huei, to kind of tell everybody how you started percussion and what you're all about. So
sure. So what's up, guys? My name's Huei. Full name is Huei Yuan Pan. You can find me all over the place. I've recently gotten on social media. Because I'm a professional musician here in Los Angeles, and when you move to Los Angeles, everyone says, "Oh, are you on Facebook? Are you on Instagram? Are you on etc." And when I first moved here, I didn't do any of that stuff because social media was always just this black hole of time, and
that's a lot of people think. I'm sure.
Yeah, and I couldn't find the time to do it. But then you get tired of saying, "Oh, I don't have Facebook," or whatever. So I finally got on. I signed off for Facebook maybe 7 years ago because it just seemed like you get on and all of a sudden you're looking at photos of some person you don't even know, and 3 hours has gone by, you're like, what's going on? So this is all to say that a few months ago, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, I started to make a concerted effort to start building a social media presence. And it was on Instagram that I met Karl, another percussionist and like-minded individual who's trying to share good content about percussion and music in general. And that's why we're here. So in terms of background, I was born and raised in Texas originally, and I grew up through the Texas music system. And then I eventually went to school in Chicago. I attended Northwestern University for my master's in percussion performance and literature. Stayed out there and taught for a number of years. And then in 2012 moved out to Los Angeles, where I started a graduate program at USC and started working in the local scene. And now I work at the Colburn School as the director of the Jumpstart Young Musicians program. But first and foremost, percussion is always my love,
Right.
which is why I take the time to write the content and post the videos about percussion, because, I mean, who doesn't love percussion, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And you know, so I was reading the blog, and you know, one of the things that struck at me is like, you know, because I talk about a lot about how, you know, it's like, I mean, it's funny because the recent video I just did was about like, you know, if you're not the best drummer in the world, or if you didn't get to like, if you didn't make like the top groups in the world, it's okay, because like if you think about it relatively speaking, like, you know, wherever you end up, like it can still be being pretty good, and you can still get a lot out of the experience. But what you're saying is like, you know, you can take that failure and you can, like, you know, really use that to motivate you. And in the case of the blog post, which I'll post a link so that you guys can read it, so you know what we're talking about. But you know, this kid basically didn't take that failure as something that, you know, kind of held him back. He didn't quit. He didn't stop. He kept asking you questions. He kept, you know, you made an offer to have them send you videos. And that's an interesting question. How many kids actually sent you videos, you know, to give you feedback? Obviously, the kid in question we're talking about sent it to you religiously and diligently. But, you know, what do you think is the percentage of kids who actually took you up on that offer to send you videos and for you to give feedback?
Yeah. So following that audition, I made the offer, hey, if you want to send me videos, I'll give you feedback. I think the first month afterwards, I got videos from maybe 3 or 4 kids.
Wow, and that's out of
like 50 kids who got cut.
Wow.
And you know, it's little things like that where it's so interesting, because people are going to offer you help all the time along the way, but once they make that offer to help you, it's up to you to do the work and take the initiative to follow up on it.
Right.
So oftentimes it's so easy to say like, oh, I'll just let that one go. I won't do it.
Yeah.
I've been guilty of this myself in the past too. But
Sure.
when an opportunity presents itself, you got to seize the moment.
Yeah.
And you got to do it.
Absolutely. And that's just really interesting. You know, and it's like, what do you think? You know, it's like these kids like quit. Did they like, you know, not care anymore? Maybe like, you know, they felt, oh, like, you know, I don't need your help. Like, you know, it's really interesting to see what that dynamic is. But this kid literally took you up on your offer. They sent you videos how often did he send videos?
It wasn't like a systematic, like every week.
Yeah.
He would just make them, but they were regular. The thing was that it was always regular. And at some point, I said, you should take lessons. And I wasn't able to teach lessons at the time, but I did refer him to a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And he started taking lessons, and that was a huge impact on him as well.
Right.
And it's the consistency. You know, once you put the work in, you have to do it. And you said, like, why do kids not do this? I mean, it is kind of a pain. I mean, it's work to set up the video camera, to make yourself film. And when you first start doing it, like anything else, you're not going to be very good at it, right? You're going to set it up, and you're going to watch yourself, and you'll be like, oh, I don't look very good. And some people are scared of seeing the truth.
Sure.
But if you do it consistently, just like anything else, if you consistently work at something over time, you'll get better. And once you start seeing the results, that's the biggest motivator that you can get. You see the results from your hard work.
Absolutely. Totally agree. And so I guess so this what group did he end up marching actually? Like you said, like he ended up marching like a top 12 group and stuff like that. So like Center Snare, right?
Yep. And marching at Phantom Regiment.
Phantom Regiment. Wow. Okay, that's awesome. From somebody from the worst snare drummer ever, right, to like literally like a center snare at a top 12 group. And you know, that's pretty amazing, and that's, you know, that's with your help and all that stuff and your feedback. But at the same time, you know, he put in the work too, and you mentioned that in your blog. Yeah. That, you know, it's like he had a lot to do with it as well.
Absolutely. I mean, this student was one of the hardest working students I've ever seen, and it just goes to show you, like, the feedback that I've gotten from people after they've read the article is that, you know, it's encouraging for people who maybe aren't as naturally talented to see that hard work ends up trumping talent.
Right.
Which is something that my parents used to talk to me about all the time as a kid growing up. I mean, like, quick story, at night my dad would tuck me in, and outside my bedroom window there are these trees. You see like 3 or 4 trees. And I remember my dad telling me the story. He said, you know, look out the window, these trees were all planted at the same time, but some of these trees are taller than other ones. Mm-hmm. Why is that? He said, think of these trees as people in life. You might be born at the same time, but certain people work harder than others, and you end up getting further ahead in life. Your hard work, which is probably the biggest life lesson I've taken from my dad personally, hard work is one of, if not the most important thing,
Right.
when you are applying yourself at trying to advance.
So you'd say that this kid wasn't really that talented.
I wouldn't say that, because he's
Okay.
actually tremendously talented.
Okay.
It was just the grade he was in. He was in like 8th grade, I think, at the
Okay,
time, 8th
okay,
or 9th
okay.
grade.
Yeah.
And he was at a school where he didn't have a private instructor.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
know, so
got
basically it was
got
him and a pair of sticks, and he was trying to figure it out.
Sure.
But you need to have that coach to say like, oh, do this, hold the sticks like this, play it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so. I guess it's really interesting because you know I've been recently reading a book by Robert Kiyosaki called Rich Dad Poor Dad, and it talks about how like, and I've heard this in many self-development ideas, in that talent ain't shit. Like it's hard work that's that can sometimes really overcome a lack of talent, and I think this really illustrates that point. With Robert Kiyosaki, it's like in part of his book he talks about how like this like writer was like kind of jealous that it's like I'm this like I got a master's degree and all that stuff, I'm super educated, and yet I'm not like successful. Why? And Robert Kiyosaki is just like well, I'm a best-selling author. I didn't say I was the best author. So it's just like, how do you play, for him, it's like, how do you play the game? It's like, how do you market yourself? But at the same time, it's like, Robert Kiyosaki also worked very hard. It's like, maybe he's not the best writer, but he worked hard, he was smart about things to be successful, and that's definitely what your student did, is like, he was smart about it. He was smart to take advantage of, your offer, first of all, and then he was smart enough to be able to realize that it takes time, so he put in the time, he made the investment, and that's why he became successful, I think. That's what it seems like.
Absolutely. You think about the fable, the tortoise and the hare. I mean, we've all heard that fable, right? And you've got the hare who's naturally more talented than the tortoise.
Sure.
But halfway through the race, the hare decides to take a nap, and the tortoise, who's slow and steady, just keeps going, and all of a sudden the hare wakes up and he's like, oh, what happened? Where's the tortoise? Way far down the finish line. And even though the hare is more talented and he can catch up to the tortoise is so far down the line, he ends up crossing the finish line before the hare.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. So, in my videos, I like to talk about how life drumming concepts can transfer to like can translate to overall big life lessons. So what do you think is the overall big life lesson from your blog posts and what you wrote? Like did you have that in mind, or is this, am I just like surprising you right now with this question? Like what do you think is the big overall theme for this whole thing? I mean, tortoise and the hare is a big one for sure.
Yeah.
But is there any other themes you can relate to that can be helpful to anybody who may not even be a percussionist? How can they take that lesson to heart?
So the original motivation behind the blog post was it's part of a series of DCI WGI blog posts.
Yeah.
The first one I wrote was about you're going to the audition. What can you do at the audition to get a callback? Right, that's where we're at.
Right.
And the second one I wrote was after January, and inevitably what happens in January is people get cut. Right? So I wanted to write a piece for the students who are getting cut. And as a teacher, there have been so many times, like you become a parent as a teacher, and you celebrate your students' successes, and you also cry for them when they fail.
Yeah.
And then you see them get discouraged, and our job is to pick them back up and say like, come on man, you can do it. Keep going.
Right.
And so I wanted to write something that students who did get cut could read and say, let me go through this part where it's painful, but if I keep going, there's potential for me in the end.
Absolutely.
A lot of people give up
and
think that's it, but just realize that you're not the first person to fail.
Right.
Everyone, see, if you look at anyone who's great, they've all gone through that failure process. It's a process. So if I had to sum it up, I would say, don't give up.
Right. And failure is good. In that situation, it's like for that student, failing and now making it is a good thing. Like I said, we talked about this before, how it definitely motivated him to get better. And he had a great attitude, right? Like he was still super positive, super friendly.
So positive.
Yeah.
So positive.
And that's the key, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that really absolutely helps. So, like I said, great blog, extremely well written.
Thank you.
And, I think anybody who reads it is going to get some tremendous value out of it. So if you have not read it yet, make sure you go read it. I'm going to leave a link on my description. And if you have read it before, read it again. Because I'm a big proponent of it's like hearing the same information over and over again. You can look at it in different ways. You can see it in different ways. Maybe we've given you some ideas to kind of look at it in a different way. So go read the article again. If you haven't shared it already, share it, because like I said, it has huge life implications to where, like, if you share it to people who are not into drumming, they can still absolutely get something out of it. I mean, they could be into acting, they could be into like playing basketball, making the basketball team. It totally applies.
Yeah.
So
it was cool to see the comments that came in after getting the blog post. So many nice people who would write me emails and the contact page, or leave comments and just talked about, like, I'm a painter, I'm a photographer, I'm an actor.
Wow.
And how the article related to them.
Wow.
And you're talking about how drumline teaches you life lessons, and I totally agree with that. For me as a high school kid in drumline, playing in the drumline was the first spark where I realized if I just applied myself and methodically worked at something,
Yeah.
I had this epiphany where I could achieve anything.
Right.
Now, am I going to be able to slam dunk a basketball? Maybe if I worked at it, but I'm not naturally talented at that.
Right.
But through drumming, I remember the exact rhythm actually. My teacher played flam fives, chicka chicka da, chicka chicka da, chicka chicka da, chicka chicka da. Let me demonstrate it.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah. So
I've never seen Huei drum until just a few minutes ago, and oh, come on, stop it. So where did you? So tell people, like, where did you march? Like, what was your drum repertoire? And not repertoire. Your resume.
I marched snare at Phantom Regiment in 2001, right out of high school, and then I spent 3 summers with the Cavaliers, 2 summers on the snare line, and then my age out year I went to the front ensemble and played marimba. So
sick.
Yeah. So the story is, I'm standing in the back hallway with my drum instructor, Matt Quinlan, who's the guy who kind of turned me on to the whole drumline thing. Matt, if you're watching, thanks again for everything. I've thanked him multiple times over the years. But we're standing in the back hallway, and there's this bookshelf, right? And he says, "Hey, check out this rudiment." And
Let's get you over here.
And he plays flam fives. He goes, right? And I remember I picked up the sticks. He's like, "Here, you try." And I was like, I think I knew about cheeses at the time, but I didn't know flam fives. So I kind of farted my way through it, and I was like, I can't do it. And what he said to me was, dude, think about it. Think about how long I've been drumming, and think about how long you've been drumming, and just get over it.
Right.
Just realize that I'm further along than you, so if I can do it, that should be encouraging, not discouraging.
Absolutely. And did you take that lesson to heart, for the rest of your drumming career?
Absolutely.
Do you teach that to your students?
Yeah, you meet students who, when they see someone who's good at something, they go, "Oh, I hate you," or "I'm gonna quit now." And I would say take the opposite approach. If you see someone who's great at what they're doing, you should say, "That's amazing, I'm gonna do that."
Right, absolutely. And that was your inspiration, right? We talked about this before, that's how you got started in the drumming, right?
Yeah, I think anyone who pursues something, at some point they see someone and go, "That's amazing," and they have that aha moment, I want to go do that.
Right.
So what I tell my students now is, every time you perform, your job, you never know who's going to be watching you, right? So your job is to put on the best presentation you can, because some kid might be sitting in the audience and see you and go, "That's amazing, I want to do that."
And I think for me, the most recent, equivalent to that is video blogging. I mean, the reason why I started video blogging is because I see people do it, how awesome it is, the tremendous value that can come out of it just by giving basically free content, and it's just I've taken so much from those guys that hey, let me start my own thing, let me give some people some value, and as it's already been demonstrated that it can be done, it can be done in excellence, and it's these people are not afraid to go out there and do video blogs in public places like this. As you can see, there's people around, there's going over here, there's some people over here, and me and Huei are just kind of in the zone right now. But there are times where I'm just oh crap, there's people. But that's the whole discomfort thing, and you just kind of get over it.
I will say that I've recently been doing some video stuff too, and when I first came across Karl's content, and I told you this earlier, there was a video of Karl, and he's standing in Vegas on some sidewalk, and the camera's on this tripod, and people are just walking by, and Karl is just, he's selling the message, he's just talking to the camera as if no one else is there. And I remember watching this video and thinking dude, this guy could care less about what's happening around him. He doesn't care if people are thinking he's weird or judging him. He's focused on providing good content for people out there. And that was, for me, very inspirational to see you doing that and saying like, yeah, that's awesome. I'm going to do that.
Nice, nice. And here we are, and we're doing this thing. Like I said, we talked about we did a Periscope, and it was like we were both in the zone.
It's your first Periscope.
It was my
right?
first Periscope.
What'd you think?
So fun. It was ridiculously fun, and that was the first time where I truly got in a zone, getting in front of a camera and talking and just feeling like I'm just gonna talk, and like doesn't matter what I say, everything I say is good. And there's people around. We even like hit up some people, and it was like totally random but totally cool, spontaneous. So it was a lot of fun. So if you guys are on Periscope, go check that out. I'm definitely gonna start an account very soon. So
shameless plug here. You can follow me at Periscope. It's at
Do it.
Pan. It's the same handle that I use for Twitter, YouTube, etc. But also, and maybe you can put a link in the description also,
absolutely.
Karl, is that there's certain replays. I'm doing video lessons on Periscope now also, so I record those replays and I put them on a Periscope page on my website, which is hueiandpan.com/Periscope.
Nice.
And then you go on there and check all the replays, and you can see Karl at our LACMA Periscope.
Absolutely. And here's the thing, right? Like, I'm sure everybody knows me. Like, I'm a quad player. That's what I do. If you don't know, that's what I'm a quad player. Huei's a snare drummer, and he does some front ensemble stuff. So if you have any questions about snare stuff, I'm definitely not the best person to ask about it, but you can ask this guy. And for front ensemble stuff, you can also ask this guy. So, please go follow him, go check his stuff out, and I'm sure you're gonna get some tremendous value. You're gonna learn a lot, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So anyways, let's wrap this up. But yeah, it's a very cool background. Never been here before. So this is really cool. Might do some more stuff with it here in the future. Me and Huei are probably gonna do some more stuff. Like, I definitely want to drum with him one day and put it on video. So that is definitely coming. You have any parting words that you want to say, like, to all the peoples out there?
Well, hey man, I just want to say first off, thanks for inviting me to come do this with you.
Absolutely.
It's really. I feel very fortunate when you're in a situation and you meet people through social media. I talked earlier about how I was a fuddy-duddy about social media. But the thing that I've learned about is that you can make all these meaningful connections with people that you otherwise would never meet.
Right.
And it was just so cool to meet you, and then we reconnected, or connected in real life.
Yeah.
And now we can say that we're friends, we're hanging out, we're creating content together.
And it's amazing, like me and him, like when we first met, like we just had dinner at Honor Bar over in Beverly Hills, and we clicked like so fast. It's just like, kind of like we're kind of on the same path, kind of same like wavelength in terms of like how we thought, and just like we just clicked, like we're like totally like homies, like for real, like. So it's really cool.
And you got some new gear now, so we're gonna jam out together, right?
Yeah, absolutely, we're gonna do that. So look out for that. That's coming soon. So, well, thank you, man. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Great video. And sorry if the video is kind of weird. I'm kind of holding it right now. They don't really allow tripods over here, so we're just making do, trying to do the best we can. And hopefully you guys enjoyed it. So that's all we have for now. Until next time, take care. See what we get. Quads. Yep. Fine, there. Twist on drags. Bunch of those. Yeah. That's the thing. Oh, what is it, my turn? Hurt us. I just had to think of something real quick. Downbeat diddles. What? Oh shit. Cat drags. Paradiddles. Okay. An island? Yeah. I don't know. I can't think the best. There it is.
Nice.
Oh,
Nice.
Nice. So long.
We should do a quick shot of us doing like 8s, and that could be the tag to your video. Take a shot of us doing 8s. Hi.
I get this so much watch.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah,
That's
you-
awesome.
You don't know who I am, do you?
No? Who are you?
Austin Getty.
Austin Getty? Nice to meet you, Austin. My name's Huei. Need some help?
Go for it.
Would love to. I just can't.
Eat some like that.
I appreciate that.
Go. Have fun. Go.
Karl.
Right, yes. Play it slow now. Play anything.
Alright, let's play plan 5 straight.
Oh God! It was so good too. It was so good.
First one was really good.
Yeah.
Good high five too.
Woo! Well, that was fun. Man. All right, good work, Huei. Good work.